UFC 319 takes place this weekend. Drickus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev, which means it's time for me to break down every single fight on this card, starting with the first fight going all the way up to the main event of the evening. This is a massive card now that we also have the Ultimate Fighter on here, as well as I'm about to get into this one. Dana White Contender Series Susurkaev just got signed on Tuesday night and supposedly is fighting Eric Nolan from CFFC on this card. So, I'm going to give you my pick for this one. I think Susurkaev's going to win on a few days' notice. Eric Nolan, I haven't seen much of his fights, but he's 8-3, 1 submission loss, 2 decision losses. I could see Susurkaev beating him up on the feet, but I'm actually going to take Susurkaev to get a knockout win here. He looked really good on Contender Series, and I get it, Murtaza Talha has been knocked out before by Rodolfo Bellato, but Susurkaev made that look easy, man. The teep to the body looked so damaging. He folded immediately. I don't know if I'm going to say Susurkaev. This might be a scrap. Eric Nolan, judging by his record, he seems to be a pretty scrappy dude that also has a few early KOs on his name, so I'll say this ends up being a scrap. Susurkaev's going to win, I think. I'm going to take him to win a decision, most likely. I don't know, man. Maybe if he knocks out Eric Nolan, that'd be pretty incredible. 2 knockouts in 1 week. That'd be pretty incredible. I'm going to say Susurkaev wins this one. I'm not going to hold too much on this one because there's really nothing to go off of for this one. But anyways, let me get into the rest of the card. The Ultimate Fighter just wrapped up. We have the finale bouts here on this card now. So you got Alibi Idiris versus Joseph Morales. And I'm going to go with Alibi Idiris. I think he's a pretty dynamic guy from what I've seen. He's able to mix up wrestling as well as throw some massive flying knees out. And I do like his striking. And I'm going to pick him to beat Joseph Morales. I don't think Joseph Morales even won his last bout on the Ultimate Fighter. It was a pretty brutal robbery. I'm going to say Idiris wins this one by second round TKO. That's going to be the pick. And we're going to move on to the second bout here. Rodrigo Sezinando versus Daniil Donchenko. Donchenko is pretty much Yuri Prohashka from Wish. And Rodrigo Sezinando, I know they don't have pictures here. He's pretty much the Carlos Alberg from Wish. That's what they kind of look like a bit. No information available on the UFC.com. What is the point of their website even, to be honest? What is the point of their website? Donchenko and Sezinando, this is what these guys look like. Donchenko just, in his last fight, looked really good. Got a brutal first round knockout over the dude. He did punch the dude in the back of the head once, maybe. And the dude, really was trying to... He fought through it, man. He could have taken a DQ, but he decided, no, I want to continue. And then Donchenko punished him for that. He just got him out of there immediately. And I'm going to say Daniil Donchenko wins this one. I like his striking. I think he's very brutal on the feet. He's really trying to inflict a lot of damage. And I think he's going to get a knockout win over Sezinando. Maybe a decision. I don't know. I'm going to say Donchenko wins a knockout, though, within the first 2 rounds. That's going to be the pick. I'm going to move on to the actual ones you guys came to see. Karine Silva versus Dione Barbosa. The ones you came to see. Karine Silva, she hasn't fought since November. That John Jones-Stipe card. She fought Vivian Araujo and was kind of underwhelming in that performance. She didn't look that good. Her grappling wasn't getting off, and she was getting taken down and outstruck. Dione Barbosa, this is a little bit of a step down for Karine Silva, I think, but Barbosa could give her some troubles, but I think Karine Silva is going to be able to piece her up on the feet, and it's not going to go to the ground that much. Karine Silva is going to end up winning a decision here. That's going to be the pick. Moving on to Nursolton Ruziboev versus Bryan battle. This is a interesting one. I've seen a lot of people pick Nursolton Ruziboev, and I mean, I get it. He's got the look, he's got the name and all that. Bryan Battle is getting underestimated here, I think. Just because of a few like Randy Brown, he gives a lot of people trouble sometimes with his range. He's a very funky guy to deal with on the feet. Bryan Battle fucked up Kevin Gisette. He messed up AJ Fletcher, Gabe Green, Ange Lusa. He was on the way to doing that. Nursolton Ruziboev, he just got Eric McConaughey, which, I mean, he did beat Eric McConaughey, but Dustin Stoltzfus and Eric McConaughey, I don't see them at the same level as Bryan Battle. I think Bryan Battle's going to win this fight, whether it be a decision or something inside the distance, but I see Bryan Battle winning this fight. I see him doing more than Nursolton Ruziboev. And I'm going to take Bryan Battle to win a decision here. That might be an interesting one. I've seen a lot of people on Nursolton Ruziboev's side this week, but I think Bryan Battle is still going to win that one. Moving on to Edson Barbosa versus Drakkar Klose. 5-inch reach advantage for Edson Barbosa. This is an unk fight. Like, both of them are at the end of their career. But listen, Drakkar Klose is not the same caliber of competition that Edson Barbosa has been fighting or losing to. He's not on the same caliber as Lerone Murphy, Bryce Mitchell, Giga Chikadze. Any of these guys that Edson Barbosa is losing to in recent memory, Drakkar Klose is a step below them. I'm just going to be real. I think Edson Barbosa takes this. I don't see Drakkar Klose as like a danger on the feet or anything. He's a marauder, man. People forget, man. Drakkar Klose, he beat Joaquin Silva. I think Edson Barbosa could score a knockout potentially. What was the one a few fights ago? It was the Sadiq Youssef one, I think. He had Sadiq Youssef rocked in that fight a couple times. Yeah, I'm going to pick Edson Barbosa to win this fight. Whether it be a knockout or a decision, I could see either or. I'm officially going to go with an Edson Barbosa knockout win, though. That's going to be the pick. Moving on to the next fight up the card, which is Alexander Hernandez versus Chase Hooper. And Chase Hooper's winning this fight, guys. Do not get it twisted. This dude was making up submission moves against Jim Miller. And that was just last fight. I don't think Alexander Hernandez's gas tank holds up. And I don't really know what he does good anymore. Apart from like the couple highlight reel finishes he had before Cowboy Cerrone, what does Alex Hernandez, what has he done in recent memory? Austin Hubbard's split decision win? Who did he just beat? Kurt Hollabaugh? These wins are not that impressive. They're not that impressive. I think Chase Hooper is going to submit Alexander Hernandez in the second round. He's going to get control time off. He's going to get ground and pound. And Alexander Hernandez is going to make a dumb mistake on the ground. And he's going to give up his neck. And Chase Hooper is going to lace it up and submit him. Chase Hooper by submission in the second round is the pick. Yeah, I'm not going to spend much more time on that one. Moving on, Jessica Andrade versus Lupita Godinez. Oh, this is I've been kind of going back and forth a little bit on this. So, Jessica Andrade, you can never trust this lady. You really can never trust her to win. What was the one? Anyways, Lupita Godinez, she has been turning her career around, I think. She had some close fights, like Mackenzie Dern and Virna Rodriguez. Mackenzie Dern and Virna Jandiroba. Marina Rodriguez was fresh on my mind. Don't hold that one to me, man. But Lupita Godinez, she's been looking good. She had some close fights with Virna Jandiroba and Mackenzie Dern, and people are using that as evidence to pick against her in every fight. But she's a scrapper. She hangs in there, like, she leaves everything out there. Her boxing, some people shit on it, but she's a dog, man. She's always moving forward. She doesn't mind getting hit. And she has been mixing it up recently. And apart from her last fight where she gassed out in Mexico City, she's looked pretty good. And Jessica Andrade is 33 years old, but she is past her prime. Like, she doesn't have anything else to give. I could see Lupita Godinez winning a decision. I could see her taking her down. She's going to play this on the back foot, though, and Lupita Godinez is going to win this fight effortlessly. Moving on. Gerald Meersheart versus Michal Oleksiejchuk. GM3 versus Michal Oleksiejchuk. Oh my god. We've got the Fighting Nerds versus GM3 in 2025. What are we doing here? Technically the Fighting Nerds. People forget, man, Michal got sworn in last fight. He got his fake glasses with the no lenses last fight after he beat Cedric Dumas in 1 round. Effortless win from Michal. And listen, Gerald Meershart's been knocked out a few times already. Not as many times as you'd think, but a couple times. He has nearly a 4-inch reach advantage over Michal Oleksiejchuk, but there's going to be no competition on the feet. Michal will be winning on the feet. Gerald Meerschaert, his chance to victory here is taking down Michal and trying to submit him. Michal's been submitted a few times before in his career, been in pretty bad positions on the ground. Do I think Gerald Meerschaert's going to be doing that to Michal? This is a tough one. I don't know. I really do think Michal's just going to knock out Gerald Meerschaert in 1 round, though. Call me crazy. I did pick Cheaty to beat Michal Oleksiejchuk, and I kind of looked like a fool there, didn't I? But, yeah, I think Michal is going to be able to get Gerald Meerschaert out of there in the first round. I think that, especially since he's been training with the Fighting Nerds since his Cedric Dumas fight, or before that. So he's going to be really tuned in and dialed into that Fighting Nerd spirit this time, whatever that means. He's going to knock out Gerald Meerschaert in the first round. That's the pick. Moving on to the next fight, which is Bobby Green versus Carlos Diego Ferreira. Oh, the old head fights, man. They always get me. They always get me. Because I've been telling myself, I don't pick 40-year-olds. But I'm actually going to be picking the 40-year-old here, not the 38-year-old. Bobby Green has been cracked too many times. Too many times. And it's not even just knocked out. He went unconscious in that Paddy Pimblett fight to a submission. And Mauricio Ruffy had him face down, ass up, for like 5 minutes. It was a brutal knockout, man. Diego Ferreira, he was putting hands on Rebecca. He's been putting hands on everyone he's been fighting. And Grant Dawson, I mean, that's a completely different style fighter than Bobby Green. Bobby Green's going to be, he's going to be having his hands out, doing all this, all that, and then he's going to get clipped. And Diego Ferreira is going to knock Bobby Green out in the second round. Or the third round. It's going to be later on in the fight. Bobby Green's not winning this one, though. He always starts off good. I will say Bobby Green does start off good usually, but Diego Ferreira's going to knock him out. And that's going to be the pick. Moving on to Tim Elliott versus Kai Asakura, the first fight on the main card. Tim Elliott versus Kai Asakura. Tim Elliott coming off of a Sumaderji submission win. And Kai Asakura coming off of a submission loss to Alexander Pantoja in his last fight. That was his first fight in the UFC as well. But he's got a 3-inch reach advantage over Tim Elliott. And is this at 135 or 125? This is at flyweight. This is at flyweight. Tim Elliott's cutting to flyweight. He's going to get knocked out. I didn't even realize that. Tim Elliott's cutting back down to flyweight now. He's had fights in flyweight before, but yeah, I'm going to say Kai Asakura knocks out Tim Elliott in this fight. I just have a feeling, man, and I know Tim Elliott's actually never been knocked out before, which is insane. Or one time ever, I guess, but in so long, he's never been knocked out or even knocked down, which is absolutely nuts when you look at it. Nobody knocks down Tim Elliott, but Kai Asakura is going to leave him lifeless, I'm sure. Flying knee is going to completely obliterate Tim Elliott, and Kai Asakura is getting a knockout win within 1 round. That's going to be the pick. Moving on to Jared Cannonier versus Michael Venom Page. Jared Cannonier coming off of a win against Gregory Rodriguez, but Listen, people forget, man, Gregory Rodriguez nearly had him out of there in that first round. Had him on skates. And Michael Venom Page, I mean, if he has Cannonier on skates any point in this fight, he's going to let him recover, I'm sure. But nobody strikes like MVP. Nobody strikes like MVP. Ian Gary said that he was going to turn MVP, like he was going to be the new generation of strikers, only to turn into a grappler when he fought MVP. MVP makes these guys regret ever talking about striking, because he's just going to float around the cage, popping out a jab, and then when you think he's only jabbing, he's going to jump in with a 1-2 that spins your head 360 degrees. MVP is going to win this fight. He's going to outstrike Jared Cannonier. I could see a moment where he rocks Jared Cannonier, but MVP is going to play it safe, and he's going to win a decision. That's going to be the pick. MVP by decision. Moving on to Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates. Jeff, listen, before I get into this, Carlos Prates could lose this fight just by getting outstruck and not finding a KO blow. That's always a possibility. He was getting outstruck by Trevin Giles before he found that late second round, or what was it, second round or third round TKO? Or not TKO, because he flatlined Trevin Giles. But Trevin Giles was doubling his striking numbers in that fight. I want to make a point of this before I really get into what I'm picking here. Trevin Giles was outstriking him 2-1 before he got that knockout win in the second round. Doesn't matter, though, if you're winning the numbers, if Carlos Prates is just going to nuke you no matter what. And do I really think Jeff Neal is going to be putting out that much volume? I don't know. I think Carlos Prates, maybe he was a bit sluggish in that fight. That was his first UFC fight. I think I'm still going to pick Carlos Prates. He's got the reach advantage, and he just got a loss in his last fight, so he kind of needs to come in here and do something big. So I think he's going to knock out Jeff Neal in the second round. It's going to be back and forth action for a while. Jeff Neal, he's got good hands. He does respect his own, like he throws out a lot of combos. He's not really that scared of getting clipped or anything. But I think Carlos Prates, he's got a, like, his striking is incredible. He nearly had Ian Gary finished in that fifth round of their fight. But I'm going to pick Carlos Prates to knock out Jeff Neal in the second round. That's going to be the pick, and I'm sticking to it. Moving on to Lerone Murphy versus Aaron Pico, the co-main event. I've been flip-flopping on this, man. Lerone Murphy is a plus 150. Don't listen to these lines. He's a plus 150 right now on the money line, on the sports books. Aaron Pico, I get it, man. You see a highlight reel of this dude. His striking's incredible. His wrestling is really good. But he's coming from Bellator, and a lot of people have this thing in their head where it's none of these Bellator guys can win because the past couple didn't win. But Patchy Mix lost when he came in. Patricio Pitbull lost to Yair Rodriguez, but then he beat Dan Ige. Michael Chandler came in and beat Dan Hooker. But that's really the last one that's happened. Like, Aaron Pico, people are picking against him just because Bellator guys usually don't win when they come in here. But Lerone Murphy, he got taken down 5 times against Josh Emmett in his last fight. And he's been having really close fights 4 times. He's been having really close fights with some of these guys. Not close fights, I'd say, but there's things that Aaron Pico is going to be able to use to his advantage against Lerone Murphy. And it's a guy like Lerone, he's got a point style. He's not really going for a knockout. Even though he's got a couple knockouts on his record, I wouldn't call him a knockout artist or anything. He's a slow... He's going to a decision most of the time. I'm just being real. And I get it. He looks good most of the time. He does look good apart from he's getting dunked on his head by Josh Emmett. That's a bad look, by the way. That's a bad look. Getting dumped on your head by anyone, regardless of if it finishes you or not. Aaron Pico might be in a better position if he does that to Lerone Murphy than Josh Emmett. But I could see Aaron Pico winning the decision against Lerone Murphy. I don't think it would be a robbery or anything. I could see Aaron Pico finishing Lerone Murphy by knockout. I could see him possibly I don't know if he could submit I don't know. But I could see Aaron Pico winning this fight way more ways than I see Lerone Murphy winning this fight. The way Lerone Murphy wins is, oh, Aaron Pico looks like shit. Oh, Aaron Pico hasn't fought in a while. And Lerone Murphy, people forget, man, he's got his back foot's crazy. This dude is going to be on his back foot the entire time. But I think Aaron Pico is just too dominant. He's going to be coming forward, throwing too much. He's going to be shooting on Lerone Murphy. I think Aaron Pico ends the first round on top of Lerone Murphy. I think he could, if he just ends the second round on top of Lerone Murphy, that's the fight. I'm going to say Aaron Pico wins this fight by decision. That's going to be my pick. And I'm moving on to the main event of the evening. Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. 23-2, Dricus du Plessis coming off of a win against Sean Strickland in his last fight. And Khamzat Chimaev just beat Robert Whittaker in his last fight. In the first round, he completely crushed Robert Whittaker's jaw. But that was a panic submission. Robert Whittaker was scared to death because Robert Whittaker's jaw was messed up coming into that fight. I've been saying this for so long. He knew his jaw was fucked. He had jaw surgery planned already. He was hoping he didn't get fucked up by Khamzat. And when Khamzat took him down, he panicked. Like, get up to my feet, Oh, I don't want Khamzat to get my jaw. And in doing that, he gave Khamzat his jaw. Dricus du Plessis doesn't have a jaw issue where it's going to collapse if you put an ounce of pressure on it. That's not going to happen to DDP. DDP just has to make it through one round, and then Khamzat's going to be starting to fade. And maybe not one round, maybe two. Khamzat has a good 2 rounds in him before DDP starts taking over in this fight. But I'm not just going to pick Khamzat to roll through Dricus du Plessis because he was able to do it to Robert Whittaker. I'm not... DDP also beat Robert Whittaker, guys. They're both common opponents that they've both fought, and they both won very similarly. I think DDP has a lot of upside in this fight, especially at a plus 170 underdog. He could bring Khamzat to deep waters. Guys, we saw Khamzat starting to fade in the 3rd round against Kamaru Usman. That was a 3-rounder, not a 5. If that was a 5-rounder, Kamaru Usman probably would have won. I'm just being real. And I don't know, man. I think Khamzat, he's good and all, sure. I don't think he's just going to be completely... more like people are acting like he's massive compared to DDP because of this one video that came out. They had to put out a second video today of the other angle from DDP's perspective just to shut you guys up because nobody understands perspective. The video was behind Chimaev and DDP's like 5 feet away from it. Of course he's going to look smaller than Chimaev. That's how perspective works. Are you kidding me? And people are using that to be like, oh, he's going to completely steamroll DDP. Derek Brunson had it down. Darren Till had him down. Fighters can get better over time. DDP had no surgery after those fights, and his stamina, his cardio improved tenfold. We haven't seen Khamzat's cardio improve yet, and just because he ran through Robert Whittaker in 1 round, that did not change my opinion of him. I've seen him nearly gas out in that ring. And until I see him get brought to deep waters, I'm going to continue to say he's going to be able to gas out in that ring. DDP's bringing him to deep waters, and he's going to finish him in the 4th round by TKO. Dricus du Plessis, and still, middleweight champion of the world after Saturday night. That's the official pick. Let me know what you guys think. Dricus du Plessis is going to knock out Khamzat Chimaev in the later end of this fight. That's the picks. And I'll be doing the Best Bets podcast, the Best Bets show on Sparring Sessions later tonight. So if you want to watch that, Go have a look. We do a lot of fun stuff over on Sparring Sessions, so go have a look there. And if you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. We'll be back here for more soon. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.